Since the video for all the exalted weapon changes is going to take a while more, I am going to release a single video on the augment that for me requires its own video showcase. That is Conductive Sphere, an incredible new augment for Gyre's first ability that directly fits into her kit. It gives Gyre's projectile weapons 75% electricity damage and a guaranteed electric proc when bullets pass through the arc sphere. The augment shares similar scaling properties as Volt's Shock Trooper while also adding a guaranteed proc in the mix similar to Lavos' Valence Formation augment. On paper, this augment looks worse than both Valence Formation and Volt's Shock Trooper for 3 reasons. First of all, it's tied to your first ability, which is an ability you have to throw at your enemy unlike the other 2 augments that are point and click damage buffs. Second of all, the damage percentage is lower than both of the other 2 augments at 75% versus 100%, and lastly, it states that it only affects projectiles that pass through the sphere's radius. While all of this sounds really bad, messing around with the augment reveals a lot of its inner workings that absolutely put it over the edge of both Shock Trooper or Valence Formation. Let's start with the biggest one. The augment stacks with itself. Gyre can throw 3 instances of her first ability without the previous one disappearing. While shooting through all 3 of these instances at the same time, the weapon used not only gets 3 times 75% electricity damage, but even more importantly, it gets tripled guaranteed procs. This is absolutely extreme, especially when combining it with weapons with high multi-shot like the Bubonico, allowing it to achieve 21 electricity procs per bullet with its innate 7 multi-shot. This already breaks a ton of weapons in the game on its own, but you still have the requirement of the weapon being a projectile. But it turns out, you don't. By standing in the sphere itself, you're able to apply this buff to any weapon of your choice, whether it's a projectile-based weapon or not. This means that any shotgun in the game with high multi-shot like the Tigris Prime for example, can reach ridiculously high status procs per bullet, allowing the dots to decimate anything. The craziness has only just begun. The augment is also applicable from teammates, and multiple gyres in a team can stack the augment even further, allowing for 12 instances of this augment being stacked on top of each other. This means that the weapon shooting through all 12 arc spheres at base strength would get a damage increase of 900% with 12 guaranteed electric procs per bullet, scaling with multi-shot. And there is still more. The augment works with some select Warframe abilities like Vauban's Flechette Orb, Nova's Neutron Star Augment, Titania's Dex and Pixia, and many more. And also it works on operator weapons, increasing their damage multiplicatively and giving them electric dot procs. This allows for Last Gasp to easily revive you even on level cap without any focus cool to be mandatory, but it sadly doesn't increase the damage to the Thrax enemies on Void Cascade. Last but not least, the augment can work as you'd expect on melee weapons that can use ranged attack projectiles like the Chlorophyll, the Verdilac or the Siam, which greatly increases their damage. However, worst of all is that standing on the arc spheres themselves will apply that buff to gunblades. And with the Vassalok Gunblade having an innate multi-shot of 9, the highest range and the best fall-off damage out of all Gunblade weapons shooting through it with Mellow Influence gives you an insane nuke explosion across rooms, without the need to even mod for electricity to begin with. The only real downside of this augment is that explosive weapons only apply their guaranteed electric proc only on the impact of the projectile and not on the actual explosion. So you should avoid using weapons like the Kuva Ogris, the Tenant Envoy, or the Kuva Zar while using this augment. But I think it's a small price to pay for an augment with this many synergies with so many weapons, squads, and warframes. On your screen, you're seeing a comparison between Conductive Sphere, Shock Trooper, and Venom Dose while also comparing the gun buffing capabilities of Gyre, Saryn, and Volt. As you can see, Gyre is able to kill the heavy gunner just as Saryn takes him to half HP, which shows just how strong gun buffing Gyre can be at this very moment. The build on the Perigale on all the tests was this, completely unmodded with a Deadhead Arcane. And to be honest, from playing in Mission, I can confidently say that Gyre deals a lot more damage than Saryn as a gun buffer. The augment itself is ridiculous and can be compared to adding 3 instances of Toxin Lash at the same time with 75% damage at base strength to your weapons. But on electricity damage as well, a damage over time that can headshot, which makes it benefit from primary Deadhead's headshot damage increase and also proc it to keep its uptime active. Conductive Sphere might be the best damage buffing augment in the game, if not the best augment in the entirety of Warframe, given to a Warframe that is popular, loved, and incredibly powerful already. I will showcase some footage of random weapons killing disruption targets paired with the augment. This augment is only limited to a player's imagination of what they can do with it, and it's truly a peak in Warframe's game design.